Okay, so imagine this headline just ripping through the news cycle. Claims, apparently from very credible sources, saying a foreign intelligence agency is actively trying to take down a sitting head of state.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds intense. Straight out of a spy novel, almost.
Exactly. But today, we're actually going to pull back the curtain on an alleged plot that the source material we have claims is, well, very real.
Right.
Our mission for this deep dive is to try and unravel these pretty extraordinary claims. They directly implicate the Israeli intelligence agency, Mossad, in supposedly trying to remove Pakistan's President Asif Ali Zardari from office.
Okay, so we're going to unpack the specific allegations that are in the source material you shared, which comes from a transcript, I believe, from Geo News, a major Pakistani news outlet's YouTube video.
That's the one.
And we'll look at the alleged history behind this, the context, maybe the current motivations that are claimed.
Sure.
Basically try to give you a clearer picture of these quite complex claims of what might be going on underneath.
So let's dive right in. The source mentions hostile foreign agencies. That immediately makes you ask, okay, who are we actually talking about here?
Well, it's interesting because, often when you hear about subversive activities in Pakistan, Indian intelligence agencies are frequently mentioned, right?
Sure, that comes up a lot.
In this specific case, regarding President Zardari, the sources were looking at point very specifically to Mossad.
Mossad, okay.
And the emphasis seems to be that the goal is very direct.
Yeah.
Get him out of office, remove him from his position.
That's a huge claim. So Mossad allegedly holding some kind of long-standing grudge against Zardari. What's the backstory there, according to the source? What did he supposedly do in the past?
Right, so the source points to two main historical reasons that allegedly fueled this opposition.
Okay.
Both seem to stem from Zardari's first time as president, which was, 2008 to 2013?
Yeah, that period.
Okay, first, it claimed he was involved, maybe significantly involved, in mediating a reconciliation between Saudi Arabia and Iran.
Okay. That's big.
And apparently, he was the one who brought China into that whole process, which, eventually led to Beijing actually mediating that deal.
Wow, okay. So Zardari initiating that China connection.
That's the claim. And it sort of highlights what the sources suggest is his political style, or was back then, using diplomacy, sometimes bringing in unexpected players, a strategy that maybe some foreign powers saw as a threat.
Interesting. And the second reason?
The second one, also from that same period, involves Syria. There was apparently an attempt to get Pakistan and some other Islamic countries to attack Syria.
Attack Syria.
Yes. And President Zardari, according to the sources, directly opposed this move. He wouldn't go along with it.
Okay. So refusal to participate in military action against Syria.
Exactly. And, if you look at his broader politics back then, he was known for trying to keep his party, the PPP, out of direct clashes with state institutions. He pushed this politics of reconciliation.
Right, I remember that phrase being used.
Yeah, and a big example of that was getting the 18th Amendment passed. That really shifted power away from the presidency towards the parliament, kind of a consensus-building move.
So these two historical points, the Saudi-Iran-China mediation and blocking the Syria action, are the alleged roots of this long-standing Mossad grievance.
That's what the source material lays out, yes. These specific actions during his first presidency.
It is fascinating, that idea of pursuing reconciliation amidst all that geopolitical tension. Does the source mention, how hard that was for him back then, the pressures he faced?
It doesn't really detail the challenges explicitly, no.
Yeah.
But the implication is definitely there that these were significant choices, probably made against some strong currents, and that they were noticed and allegedly resented by these actors.
Okay, so that's the history. Now, fast forward to today, how does this connect to the present? The sources seem to suggest there's a renewed push now linked to recent events.
Precisely. The timing is key, according to the claims. Zardari's return to the presidency happened alongside the very recent Iran-Israel conflict.
Right, that flare-up.
And what the source highlights as kind of unexpected is the unity shown by Pakistan's top leadership.
Yeah.
You got President Zardari, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, and the Army Chief, General Asim Munir.
The Troika.
Exactly, the Troika.
Yeah.
And they seem to be completely aligned on the same page. This unity itself is presented as a significant factor, maybe something that wasn't anticipated externally.
And their approach, it's described as sort of dual track, right? Improving ties with the U.S., but at the same time, openly backing Iran in the conflict. That seems like a difficult balancing act.
It does, yeah. And the source really emphasizes Zardari's alleged crucial role in making this happen. It claims that he, along with Sharif and Munir, basically stopped foreign powers from preventing Pakistan's open support for Iran.
Stopped foreign powers. That's a strong statement.
It is. It suggests a level of coordinated action and perhaps resistance to external pressure that, according to these claims, really bothered some international players.
Okay, so if Pakistan took this unexpectedly unified and assertive stance, supporting Iran openly, what's the alleged response from Mossad now, according to the source? What's the current strategy?
Well, the alleged goal now is basically to break that unity, to create splits, rifts within that troika.
Okay, undermine the united front.
Yes, and the source outlines a specific alleged targeting strategy. It claims President Zardari is seen as the, quote, weakest character in that group.
The weakest. Why him specifically?
Because he's a ceremonial president. I mean, yes, he's technically the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, but the role itself doesn't hold inherent executive power in the same way the prime minister's does, or obviously the army chiefs.
That's an interesting take that a ceremonial role is perceived as a vulnerability. Does the source explain why that makes him seem like an easier target for this alleged damage strategy?
It doesn't spell out the tactical thinking in detail, no, beyond just pointing to the ceremonial nature of the office. But you could infer, perhaps, that the thinking is it might be easier to discredit or sideline someone without that direct day-to-day executive power, maybe without directly confronting the core power centers of the PM and the army chief immediately.
Right. Maybe less direct blowback initially.
Perhaps. And the alleged sequence of attack is apparently quite clear. First, damage the president. Then the plan is supposedly to damage the prime minister. And finally, to go after Army Chief General Asif Munir.
Wow. So it's presented as a multi-stage plan.
Exactly. It's not just about Zardari, according to this source. He's just the alleged first step in a broader strategy to dismantle this unified leadership structure, starting with what they perceive as the softest point.
So to sum up that part, the immediate alleged target is President Zardari. But the ultimate goal, as claimed by Mohsin Naqvi and the sources cited, is to break the entire Troika president, PM, and army chief. It's framed as an attempt at broader destabilization, starting at the top, but aiming for the whole structure.
That's the core of the allegation, yes.
Yeah.
We've basically walked through these very serious claims from the provided sources. Claims about a foreign intelligence agency, named as Mossad, allegedly running a long-term campaign against Pakistan's president.
Driven by history, but reactivated by current events.
Right. Allegedly driven by his past actions and then triggered again by recent geopolitics, specifically Pakistan's unified stance on the Iran-Israel issue. And the supposed aim is destabilizing the country's leadership by picking off its key figures, starting with the president. It really highlights how external actors might, theoretically, try to exploit perceived weaknesses in even unified leadership structures.
Yeah, this deep dive really gives a glimpse into those, complex, often hidden dynamics in international relations in the intelligence world. It shows how things that happened years ago can suddenly ripple into the present and affect major geopolitical moves.
Absolutely.
It makes you think, doesn't it? Even roles we might see as ceremonial can apparently become central targets in these big strategic games. So a final thought maybe for you, our listener. What does this whole scenario tell us about those hidden battles being fought out, behind the scenes? And how does that idea of a ceremonial position affect a country's vulnerability or maybe its resilience?
It's definitely a critical question. And it underscores why it's so important to, critically look at claims like these, even if they seem dramatic,